In 1912, a single novel established the rules for almost every Dinosaurs Among Us story today. Long before King Kong scaled the Empire State Building or Jurassic Park opened its gates, there was The Lost World. The architect of this template was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He introduced readers to Professor Challenger, a bombastic, abrasive scientist determined to prove that prehistoric life survived into the modern age. But Challenger didn't come up with this idea on his own. The novel opens with a mystery. An American artist named Maple White ventured into the Amazon, drew a sketch of a living dinosaur, and died alone in the jungle. For a century, Maple White has functioned as a ghost. He is a brief narrative tool used to leave behind a sketchbook and trigger Challenger's journey. Adding psychological depth to the man who left behind that skeleton changes how we encounter the classic text. This brings us to a specific release, a special edition that pairs Doyle's unabridged 1912 text with an original modern prequel novella called The First Witness, written by Robert Walker. Walker tracks Maple White's final journey. We follow him closely from his struggles as a disillusioned painter in San Francisco all the way to his final days stranded on the prehistoric plateau. Look at how this expanded edition is structured. The publisher built an explicit friction point by offering two ways to read the text. Path A is the timeline-accurate route, starting with the prequel. Path B is the purist route, beginning with Doyle's original mystery. Ultimately, your choice changes the genre of the experience. You are deciding between a breezy pulp adventure and a tragic epic. Walker's prequel uses a disillusioned artist to explore themes of desperate ambition. White's journey exposes the terrifying, indifferent reality of the untouched Amazon basin. When White reaches the plateau, his first encounter with prehistoric life is pure terror. A massive pterodactyl emerging from the canopy validates the sheer danger. Through his isolated journal entries, White is elevated from a convenient narrative footnote into a fully realized protagonist. We see him starve, document his findings, and face his mortality. The prequel even humanizes the plateau's violent missing link ape-men. In his final moments, a scarred ape-man places a single purple flower on White's chest, an unexpected moment of grace. The primary trade-off is tonal. Walker's heavy, melancholic prose directly clashes with the 1912 text that follows it. We move from White's quiet, psychological descent into death, straight into Professor Challenger's loud, almost comedic arrogance back in London. Bridging these two distinct styles creates an emotional whiplash for the reader. Let's look at the experience of Path A. Here, you endure the plateau's horrors and witness White's death before Challenger even proposes his expedition. To weigh this path against the alternative, let's look at this comparison matrix. For Path A, the chronological route, notice how the emotional payoff score maxes out, but the mystery score drops to near zero. By reading the prequel first, you inject massive dramatic irony into Doyle's text. You know exactly what dangers wait in the jungle, while the characters remain completely oblivious. The emotional peak of this path hits when Lord Roxton finds the skeleton and the worn chalk stub in the cave. The resonance is profound because you spent 20 chapters getting to know the man who held it. Reading the prequel first removes the central mystery from Doyle's opening chapters. Because you already know the dinosaurs are real, Challenger's early, drawn-out debates trying to prove their existence feel slow. You are waiting for the characters to catch up to what you already experienced. Path B means engaging with Doyle's original text first, exactly as a 1912 audience would have. Updating our matrix for Path B, the purist route, the scores invert. The pacing and mystery score is maximized, but the emotional payoff for the inciting incident drops significantly. The primary benefit here is momentum. Path B perfectly preserves the fast, pulp adventure rhythm that made the novel famous in the first place. This rhythm relies on a London-centric mystery. The abrasive charm of Challenger debating high society skeptics in places like Queen's Hall serves as the primary hook, long before anyone even reaches the jungle. The trade-off of Path B is that it relegates Walker's beautifully written prequel to a prolonged flashback, or an optional appendix. Path B sacrifices the intended emotional weight of finding the journal in the cave. For the entire first half of the reading experience, Maple White is reduced back to a simple plot device. Adding modern psychological depth to a pulp classic works exceptionally well, provided you understand exactly what you want out of your reading experience. To make your choice, let's use this reader profile match scorecard. We have two distinct reader profiles to assign to our two paths. First is the lore optimizer. This is a reader who prioritizes deep character arcs, interconnected world building, and heavy emotional weight over fast pacing. If this sounds like you, my recommendation is to read Path A, the novella first. The emotional payoff of finding that journal in the cave is worth the slower start to the classic text. The second profile is the Classic Purist, or the time-conscious reader. If you want a breezy historical adventure, hate spoilers, and prefer narrative momentum, my recommendation is to read Path B. Start with the classic first, and treat the prequel as a rich historical appendix. Regardless of the path you choose, this edition successfully performs a literary resurrection. It gives you the choice between experiencing a pristine classic mystery or a profound tragedy.